Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. Today, we're discussing the Blancpain Leman Flyback, a Toute Vitesse, a limited edition of 20 pieces. You can see and you can purchase this stainless steel flyback chronograph on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right-hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full sales listing for this mid-2000s limited series with additional accessories included in the sale, high-resolution images for your desktop, and naturally complete pricing details for this automatic flyback chronograph. Now, the watch on my wrist was part of a special series of 3 watches made in either 12 or 20 pieces individually for a U.S. Midwestern distributor of Blancpain around 2005. All examples are sensational, a combination of color and character, packed with high horology movements and versatile traditional case proportions. All 3 are sensational, but this is the most elemental, the cleanest dial, and perhaps the most versatile of the 3. The others included a split-second functionality and the GMT alarm, but this dial could go with anything, and this case could go with any wrist. Consider that it's 38 millimeters across the round of the case, not including the screw-down crown or screw-down pushers for the chronograph. 11.8 millimeters means it's fairly slim, not an ultra thin by any means, but you can see with the double stepped and rounded bezel, the case flank will allow any dress cuff or sleeve of the shirt beneath to ride up and over. You'll also note that from lug to lug, the watch is exceptionally compact, 43.2 millimeters, meaning you can easily wear this watch with security and aesthetic proportion on a wrist as small, in my estimation, as 13 centimeters in circumference. Now, the watch, although compact in its dimensions, has an upscale strap with surprisingly meaty sheer cut. It's a sort of honey brown alligator leather with a handsome simulated patina contrasting stitch that nicely matches the tones of the dial. You'll also note when I talk about how meaty that strap is, look just how thick the sheer cut side is. Beautifully made. On the underside, there's a supple vulcanized rubber, so rather than the more common calfskin on the underside, it uses rubber to isolate the oils, the heat, the sweat, and the grit of the wrist from the leather for longer wearing durability. Now, the watch features a full clasp that actually features a minderless system, so all excess strap length, when you size it and tuck the strap into the clasp, is tucked underneath the body of the clasp, so there are no minder loops to keep track of any excess. It's a very clean aesthetic, and with a full clasp you have that extra degree of security against droppage while donning or removing at bedside. Normally, high polish can be a little bit garish and flamboyant, but when combined with very traditional dimensions and proportions, here it's beautiful and apropos. The beautiful Blancpain engraving on the flank is subtle. It doesn't come across when the watch is on the wrist, but it's the kind of thing you can appreciate when you're viewing the watch off the wrist. In fact, the lines of the case are surprisingly nuanced, with quite a few details and wrinkles to animate the case and attract the eye. It's more enjoyable on the wrist, to be sure, but the attention to detail and the quality of the finish elevate this watch to the ranks of high horology. We'll talk more about what's inside in a moment, but let's talk about the dial. This was the standout feature of the Toute Vitesse series. Now, the series was essentially onto the idea of simulated patina luminescence before that was even a thing. In fact, a good 8 to 10 years before that was a thing. Here, it comes across more as a combination of lively colors than a sort of retro theme. As you can see, the simulated patina is almost slightly orange or tangerine in its coloration, but it doesn't end there, as there are small red Arabic numerals outside the station of each hour featuring the corresponding minutes of the dial. Now, you'll also note that there is a white on black print that is very easy to read, and of course I should clarify that this being a flyback, it does have one-touch reset and restart functionality. There's a discrete date window at 6 o'clock that nicely anchors the dial, so you can actually leave this running if you prefer to have center seconds rather than read off a subdial. Because of the vertical clutch architecture of the caliber F185, you'll note, and I'll screw out the other crown here, that the watch has a smooth take-up when the chronograph starts. That's the advantage of a vertical clutch. Watch the seconds hand. See how there's no jump? It simply commences rather than jumping forward a second as you would see with a lateral clutch. So not only does it make the chronograph more precise, but it also means that there's no additional wear and tear because there's no meshing of teeth. It's not like a lateral clutch. Just leave it running if you prefer to have constant seconds at center. Of course, with all of that simulated patina luminescence, the watch does glow like a torch at night, and we're well past the tritium era, so it's all superluminova. There is a quick set for the date, so you can rapidly cycle that discrete monotone date disc should the watch run down or encounter an irregular length month. Because of the screw-down chronograph pushers and crown, the watch has 100-meter water resistance, so throw this on a NATO or a water-resistant strap such as a Hirsch Shark or a rubber strap, and you'll find that the watch can be used for almost all aquatic activities short of professional diving. You'll also note the serialization of the watch, quite appealing for those who want a special piece or those who have a penchant for number 1. You'll also note the 18-karat winding mass, beautifully finished with linear Côte de Genève and hand-laid anglage along its edge, beautifully rounded and mirrored finish. You can note that there's also a Côte de Genève across the winding bridge, and then there's a perlage on many of the other bridges for an interesting contrasting double finish. The level of finish on the caliber F185 37 joules automatic winding 40-hour power reserve is best compared to the likes of most Glasuta Original, Zenith, Girard Perregaux, or Jaeger-LeCoultre, which is to say high horology and very nicely made, not quite the level of Patek or Vacheron, but excellent. And the watch features both a column wheel for a crisp traditional actuation. You'll note if I cycle the chronograph, you'll see the column wheel in action. So it feels good, it sounds good, and then you've got the vertical clutch for efficiency. The watch beats away at 21,600 vibrations per hour. It does not feature hacking, it does feature the quick set date. This is a watch that puts it all together. Timeless dimensions, a lively style that nevertheless doesn't go overboard, beautifully executed with color and character. This is a rare piece and one that's well regarded among collectors of Blancpain. You can see and you can own this Toute Vitesse flyback chronograph from the Leman family on our website.